Imagine hitting a hole-in-one when the hole is hurtling at 15,000 miles per hour through space. That's how one analyst described the tremendous technical challenge of missile defense, shooting down enemy ballistic missiles before they hit the United States. I recently came back from a trip to Alaska, that grand and peaceful wilderness that has now become the front line of our national missile defense. Hard to imagine. But as North Korea and Iran improve their nuclear capabilities and test long-range missiles, missile defense is seen by many as a big priority. But will it work? The cutting edge of America's massive missile defense effort is on the last frontier, Alaska. So this is the missile field out here, and this is the one access point into the missile field. Fort Greely, about 100 miles southeast of Fairbanks, in the shadow of the mighty Alaska Range. It's cold, bitter cold, 30 below last month when we were there. And in this neck of the woods, you're just as likely to see moose as cars on the roads, maybe more so. But this remote and spectacular place is the front line, where the Pentagon is racing to put dozens of missiles in the ground that it's hoped will defend the nation against incoming missiles from North Korea, Iran, or elsewhere.
This time we're going to conduct a personnel search. I ask you if you got any cell phones or any large metal objects to please place them on the table.
Now, you do this to everybody? Nightline is the first TV crew ever allowed into what was once a very secretive site. And when you get out here and actually see it up close, it's striking. Over here, this is Silo 111, and this is it, a live interceptor missile ready to fire. 45,000 pounds of solid fuel, a kill vehicle up on top. It's one of 14 here at Fort Greely, and the soldiers here say they are confident that if they had to, they could fire one of these missiles and hit an incoming missile targeted at the United States. The Pentagon wanted us to see all of this, silos, command centers, test missiles, because they have a story they want to get out. It works, they claim. What was once derisively called Star Wars, they say, is now ready for battle. So this would really be, you might say, the main battery of American missile defense. Yes, it is. I'm proud of that.
It's an important mission, and everyone here is very proud of what this capability we've been able to bring to the nation. It's historic that for the first time the U.S. has a capability to defend itself against intercontinental ballistic missiles.
That's Colonel Tom Besh, the Director of Missile Defense Programs in Alaska. As you might expect, he has no doubts. You're confident that right now, if North Korea or any country popped off a missile at this country, the 14 that are out there right now, you'd be able to press the buttons and up they'd go and do their mission?
I'm absolutely confident.
Absolutely confident? I am. But there are plenty of skeptics.
The missile defense interceptors that are in the ground at Fort Greely and Vandenberg have absolutely no proven capability against an enemy missile under operationally realistic circumstances.
Before we get to that debate, let's take a look at precisely what we're talking about.
Let me share with you a vision of the future which offers hope. That we could intercept and destroy strategic ballistic missiles before they reached our own soil or that of our allies.
The idea behind missile defense, first embraced by President Reagan back in 1983, is simple. Shield the United States from incoming missiles by building a system that would shoot them down in mid-flight.
3, 2, 1, ignition.
Over the course of 25 years and nearly $100 billion, there have been dozens of tests of various parts of the system. Many have failed. That's because in practice, it's a ferociously complex challenge. Some critics say it's impossible, like hitting a bullet with a bullet.
People have talked about it hitting a bullet with a bullet, for example. That's not quite true because these are smart bullets that we're using.
Smart bullets. General Henry Trey Obering, the director of the Missile Defense Agency, says the huge advances in technology and huge military spending over the years have made the country safer.
What we are now able to do, as I said, is to defend America against the emerging threats. That $100 billion will allow us to protect American cities.
Sir, be advised, Aegis confirms second missile launch.
Weapons. Engage threat to Chicago. 1 GBI out of Fort Greely.
At Fort Greely, we got a show and tell of the technological wizardry at the heart of the system.
Weapons. Engage threat to Seattle. 2 GBIs out of Fort Greely.
Copy, sir.
Simulated attack on Chicago, San Francisco, and Seattle. And while the attacking nation wasn't specified, it was clear where the missiles were coming from. Notice that one clock on the wall keeps Korea time.
Threat to Seattle has been engaged with 2 GBIs from Fort Greely. Copy.
It's a complex system of systems they're part of here. Satellites, radars, command centers, missiles, all linked by a vast and powerful computer and communications network.
Threat to Chicago has been destroyed.
And sure enough, the system worked in simulation. But what about the real world? Colonel Ted Hildreth is commander of the 49th Missile Defense Battalion. What's your level of confidence, percentage-wise, that your soldiers could shoot a missile out of the sky?
I'd bet my family's life on it.
Not everyone is quite that sure. And the systems are all working in a way that will knock those missiles down, you think?
From where I'm sitting, I think so. I think so.
The problem, say critics like Teresa Hitchens of the Center for Defense Information, is that in the real world, an enemy like North Korea could easily foil these defenses.
If you have enough incoming missiles, you can overwhelm a certain sized battery of interceptors.
An even bigger challenge, countermeasures, cheap balloon decoys released by a missile while in space and designed to look and act exactly like the real threat. And then there's the controversy over testing. In every test so far, the defenders at Fort Greely and elsewhere have had some advance information about the simulated attack. You think these tests are basically rigged?
I think they're scripted. I'm not going to say rigged because that gives, again, the connotation that there's foul play here. I'm saying they're scripted tests.
General Obering insists the tests are realistic.
There's not any artificiality to that. It is very much the same environment that the system would be, would there be a realistic attack against the United States.
Up at Fort Greely, all those debates are a long way away. Life here is challenging enough, as we learned over lunch with some soldiers. But last week it was how cold here? Minus
40, 44,
40 degrees below zero. And then there are the grizzly bears and the moose. You go jogging with a 44. You have to.
Well, you have to have some kind of protection with you. Some people carry weapons, some people carry the bear spray with them.
Right. Does that work?
Oh, it works.
There's a specific.
But there's a genuine excitement in the ranks here and throughout the program, a sense that they are tomorrow's warriors.
This is something that we've never done before, and I wanted to be a part of that.
When you run into a non-deterrable country or a non-deterrable organization and you have a warhead in the air, we think that there's a moral obligation that we have to protect our citizens as well as our allies against that threat. And that's why we've been investing in missile defense in this country, and we think it's important that our allies do so as well.
Defending against a new kind of threat, the controversy continues.